How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another Q&A. This is our weekly live stream segment where we answer all of your questions. Joined with us today, we have Mod Kieran.
Hey, guys.
Mod Ash.
Hello.
Mod Johnsy.
Had to be done.
Okay. And myself, Mod Archie. All right, so first things first, before we get into the questions, I wanted to mention our AMA that's happening tomorrow. I believe that's at 5 p.m. BST. Ronan, correct me? 5 p.m. BST? It is 5 p.m. BST tomorrow.
I think that makes it midday Eastern time.
The same time, whatever time it is for you right now if you're watching the live stream live and not on YouTube.
Yeah, if you do go to the actual subreddit, r/IAMA, it is actually listed in the table on their page as well with the time. So.
Yeah, so there you go. We'll be answering pretty much every question, even some non-old school related, so look forward to that.
Yeah, definitely come along.
And finally, in this stream, as you can probably tell by the title, if not, refresh the page, Mod Ghost will be previewing our brand new Raids armor. It's actually the Mage armor from Zeah.
Oh, I've not even seen this.
This stuff will be coming out batch 2 around the end of August-ish, I'm told.
Yeah, we're looking at end of August, start of September for Raids release.
Very exciting.
Hype.
Right. It's looking awesome. Let's do this. So first question. Slayer Masters asks, can 100% Lovakeng favor get us the ability to upgrade our cannon to hold a total of 40 or 45 cannonballs? He says those Lovakeng dwarves can be related to the Asgarnian dwarves, if you want some lore tie-in.
I like that they've got the lore tie-in. We could do that.
Yeah, it's just a limited change. I would like the player to have to unlock it in some way, even beyond that. Maybe a fee they have to pay or a thing they have to do that makes the dwarves upgrade their cannon for them.
I would definitely love to add that as a reward somewhere, whether it comes from Lovakeng, who knows, but there's certainly room for cannon upgrades of some sort.
Some smart dwarf who's good at tinkering with dwarf technology and making it better, we give them a reason and a fee for their service.
It does seem a bit more reasonable than the other requests we had for holding unlimited cannonballs. I think jumping it up to 40,
unlimited
45.
cannonballs. Go back to the bank and start fletching.
Okay, next question then. Muzz asks, now that you've added bank placeholders, any plans to compensate players who already worked towards placeholders?
So we did, in fact, launch a couple in the update today. We did it for the Void Knight kit. There is a dodgy squire next to the bank in the Void Knight Island. You can tell him because he's called Dodgy Squire, and he looks like one dodgy squire.
And he has a briefcase.
He has a briefcase. What he sells and trades out of there is possibly his own business, but he will take your spare Void kit off of your hands for a large proportion of the commendation points you spent to get it in the first place. Can't give you a full refund though, because if we did that, then you'd I don't know, take the melee helm and switch it to a mage one when you want to go on another trip, and switch back and forth, and you don't have to get any more points. So we can't really give you a full refund there. Similarly for Nightmare Zone, previously if you got an imbued item and you clicked the uncharge option to uncharge it, then you'd be told you're not going to get your points back, are you sure you want to continue? Now you do get most of your points back, and ask if you want to continue, and tells you up front roughly how many points you'll get. So we've done that for people who wanted refunds on those kinds of placeholders. Graceful, that was another popular one, and also Prospector. The good news there is you already could get a refund for most of your points on that. So we've left those alone because the feature already existed. But as we said in the news post, there are other mini-games. We chose on this occasion to not hold up the entire placeholder system until refund systems could be added for all the places people could possibly want them, because that could have taken a fair bit longer and you'd still not be able to sort your bank nicer the way you want to. So in future updates we can add a refund feature for Farm Agricola's Tithe Farm Shop, and for what's the other thing? Barbie Assault. Yeah, Barbie Assault. Had a couple of questions about the Max Cape as well. Okay. Because we blocked alchemy on that.
We did, yeah.
Yes. Does anyone remember why we did that? Because if we hadn't done it, then they'd be able to spare Max Capes and get a lot of their money back.
How much money would they get back?
60%, so roughly 1.6 mil of the 2.3. I can't remember why. I'm sure we had a reason.
I think there was a reason.
Something tech related, wasn't it?
Was it because we were changing its config price so that it would protect on death better?
Probably.
It's the kind of reason we would do it, if any.
Yeah, so it wouldn't actually output that, would it? We can set a custom alchemy value though, if we wanted to.
If we want to, yeah, we can make that happen.
And perhaps Mac will offer to purchase them back for a portion of the fee.
That seems
instead.
reasonable.
Yeah.
They're safer, definitely.
Well, by Dodgy Dave, are they referring to who I think they are?
I have no idea. I'm talking about some guy standing next to the Void Knight Bank.
Yeah.
His name is not Dave. Unless you want it to imagine it is. I don't know this person. Does he work here?
Possibly.
Moving on. Next question. Let's see here. Jeremy asks, will this new raid gear be obtainable by Iron Men?
No. Not in its current format. I haven't made any exceptions for Iron Men in the design yet, but as Iron Men do everything alone, unless we come up with a group bossing system for raids, because it's just not going to be possible with less than 5 people. They won't be able to obtain the rewards.
Okay, on there with the fishing trawler for them. Next question. Joel asks, can we get a white dragon pet from Master Clues instead of the Bloodhound?
No, but you can have something similar soon. I'm not revealing where it's coming from.
The Bloodhound's in pull right now. It's doing quite well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's passing about 81%, I think.
Yeah.
So the discussion was, obviously, we're offering a Bloodhound pet from the Master Clue Scrolls, Rare Drop, and a lot of players were suggesting that we replace this with a white dragon pet. But when I was looking through the thread, there's very mixed opinions on this, and a lot of people were defending the Bloodhound, saying it suits Clue Scrolls better, it's a really nice pet.
I wouldn't want to rule out the chance of us doing a white dragon one day.
It
That
could be
as
for
well,
something
yeah.
else.
We
It
are
come with,
doing one soon, TM.
We even had a colleague a few years back who was working on a white dragon in his spare time, but though nothing much came of it.
It's just like all of his other work. Yeah,
Dragon.
the white dragon it's not going to be called a white dragon when it comes out, but it is based off of a white dragon in ancient mythology, and a lot of the mechanics are dragon-esque, and it drops dragon things, which is why it will be a white dragon kind of pet.
This sounds intriguing. I look forward to seeing what the heck that's all about.
You should. Yeah, it's your project.
Can this
Great! And that's how I find out what I'm programming.
Can this white dragon have blue eyes?
No, we're not.
No? Come on. All right. I try. Next question then. Bansa asks, be more transparent with your answers. Not so much a question, actually. This is probably the biggest thing that came with our Q&A feedback thread we threw up on Reddit, asking for feedback, what you guys thought, what you guys wanted. A lot of it, well, this guy at least, and a lot of people that agreed with him, said, be more transparent with your answers. So mostly referring to when we say that's an engine job, we can't do it right now.
Well, okay, let's say it in a bit more detail. The game engine is the thing created back in 2003-4 for the launch of RS2 that the whole of RuneScape runs in. It's that funny, yeah. And if it gives us the ability to do something, then we can do it. If the creators of the engine back in those days did not think we'd need it, then generally we can't do it. By the way, this is Andrew Gow all by himself. He was not able to predict all the features people would want in the forthcoming decade and a bit. He did rather well considering, and he wrote it expandable so more can be built in. But sometimes it just does not have an option for doing such and such as an NPC where all the ops are right-click options so that walk here becomes the left click. It's just not something he sort of realised we'd need in future, so he did not create that ability. When we want to do these things, we have to get our engine team, the people still working for Jagex these days, mostly Ian Gower, to reprogram the game engine to allow it. That is not always a quick job. Some things are quick, you'd expect them to be. I believe bank placeholders he was able to knock out in only a couple of days from his side of it, and about the same from my side of it.
And then, probably 3 or 4 days for the PID?
Something like that, yes. However, some of the other things he gets tasked to work on are not such quick jobs, especially where they go outside of the game engine directly and tie into all of Jagex's other systems. Anything that needs to, say, output to something on the website, anything that needs to store its data somewhere else, because you've got to store the data somewhere. All those jobs take a lot longer because he's got to find out what all the other systems are and how to communicate with them, and liaise with people all around the company to get access to the things he needs to do those jobs. So sometimes he will be unavailable to do these little requests for us, and even a 2-day job like bank placeholders might have had to wait a while before he was even able to start if he was on a rather more commercially significant job that took a lot longer. So when we say something requires a game engine change and therefore we can't do it now, take that to mean if we polled it here and now and then said we're going to do it, it wouldn't be available for such a darn long time that we couldn't even predict how long, that you probably wouldn't thank us for it. Like, remember in 2013 when we polled a rewrite to the route finding system, and it took us 9 months to get that thing out the engine team we had in those days. That was not a popular situation. We would prefer not to poll things unless we can deliver them in a reasonable time frame. So that's why we say it.
I mean, even the placeholder change, he had to change something with all of our dev tools as well.
Yes, he did. Turned out that all the tools that read object configs needed updating to be able to read the new options that we can set on items for them to be placeholders or not. So that meant we had to get the interface editor re-exported, the icon editor, the map editor. Half the compilers turned out to need reprogramming as well. Even this morning, the update was held up for a little bit of extra time because one of the tools that deploys all the data to the live service for updates, that needed reprogramming, and we did not know in advance, so that was just time that wasn't factored into anything. But that's what it takes to get these updates out.
All right.
Are they going to ever ask for transparency again? Because there's a lot of it. Where
You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to link him to that, actually. Very well put answer. Okay, moving on.
And
Next
they
question.
seem to want me to do an arm thing, according to the chat. I will do an arm thing. They've put up with me talking for long enough.
Ooh,
They
the
can
fight
have
of
an
the
arm
arm
thing.
things.
Yeah, the arm thing.
Nah, Ash wins.
Oh, that's
I
going to be on a
hope you're
perfect
happy.
loop GIF.
I was hoping so.
Next question.
A weird version of Flappy Bird.
What can you do?
Not that.
If that isn't on r/modash GIFs by the end of this stream, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Okay,
Should we talk about RuneScape some more?
let's do it. Rendy asks, can we get a bag to hold rings? He's asking for recoils in specific, actually. He also just wants the ability to combine charges into one ring. Have an everlasting recoil.
God. The amount of bags we're going to end up with. Our inventory is just going to be bags of various things.
Yeah, we've got to draw the line somewhere. I mean, like seeds and herbs kind of makes sense. The coal thing was kind of pushing it, in my opinion. To be able to just carry rings is just, you're basically just saving inventory space. And when it's something as useful as a ring, I think we've got to draw the line and say, no, you sacrifice the inventory space if you want to carry more of these.
I thought it's worth a bit where he wants to combine the charges of 2 rings.
It carries the charge, doesn't it?
Well, yeah, the charge is saved on you, the player, rather than on any particular item. That's how things had to be implemented before we got the ability to store data on items. So if all your rings are in fact the same charge, it's just going every time you reach 0, a ring is destroyed.
It wouldn't surprise me if it's a full VARP either.
Almost certainly.
I would happily see the update letting us combine a
We
bunch
could
of rings. That'd be
easily,
pretty cool.
we could easily increase the cap somehow.
If we let you just, sacrifice a ring to increase the charges on you and make it long until the next one goes, I would be willing to do that.
That'd be nice. Yeah.
You just kind of eat an inventory full of rings and never think about recoiling for the rest of your trip.
Yeah, that's true. It'd be interesting to see if that one passed a poll.
We give it some sort of diminishing return.
It would have to have an upper limit.
Yeah, 2 billion?
I was thinking more like 100.
Also assuming it would reset upon death. Because that would be the issue with PKing.
I'm not sure they do at the moment.
No, I don't think they do.
No, they don't.
You can destroy a ring of recoil to set it to back to, is it
0.
140?
Okay.
The cap is?
I thought it was
Well,
40.
Maybe it's 40.
It's 140 for the Ring of Forging.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, it's 40 for the ring free corner.
Cool idea then. All right. Next question then. Fishy asks, what are the chances you could take the bow sword from Devious Minds and turn it into an actual viable weapon, say for PKing?
It could be done, just needs balancing, I guess. But given how large and slow it would have to be, I'm not sure we could ever make something like that viable. Plus, it's going to be so ridiculously useful in the fact that it's a hybrid weapon without having to switch that it would see about as much use as a red salamander does in PvP.
It strikes me as the type of thing that we would have a new player, say, joining back going, oh, Old School Runescape, I love this game, then seeing that and going, wait a minute, this is off.
I struggle to see how it would work, just what it would do, really.
I imagine I can make it work. I'm just not
yeah.
sure anyone will thank me for it after I've done it.
And how it would actually function rather than the technical view.
So yeah, it could be done, but there's not much point.
Right, next question. Menace Man asks, how likely is it that Old School will get a dedicated website dev and another engine dev to help Ian?
Another engine dev is possible. No idea how likely it is, but web systems, no. We have a rather large web team that service the entire company. That's us as a product, the RuneScape product, RuneScape Chronicle, and all the other sub-teams around them. That's the way it works at Jagex at the minute. If we had one dedicated developer, they'd also have to have a dedicated QA person, then someone to actually be able to deploy that to the live website as well. It's a whole team, which is why they're a self-functioning unit that services the company rather than working in individual teams.
Especially as it goes beyond the website into all the various systems that happen to be accessed via the website.
All the data modules. And
the whole thing.
And they are ridiculously busy.
Just a
with new products coming out of our ears.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, there's even more than we knew about the other day.
Okay. Moving on. Another question from Menaceman here. He says, can we see teak and mahogany tree seeds?
This one's come up once before. It can be done. I think we've got space on the Varbits for 2 more trees.
Yeah, we had a look at the farming patch and reckoned that we could fit in 2 more trees, provided they didn't have too many growth states each.
Yeah, it's on my list of things to one day offer as a reward from something.
Yeah, I'd love to offer them. I think it'd be really cool.
And we could even let them plant them if we did it.
Yeah, that would be the idea. Rather than just handing it out, keep things like that for, just content rewards if you ever do a quest or something.
Okay. Shadow asks, can you add in all of the quests that came out before July 2008's graphics update? So here you go. As a first resort, Legacy of Sirge is rocking out Path of Glufrey and Land of the Goblins.
Would you like this one?
If I may. Path of Glufrey and Land of the Goblins we have. The good news about those is that development of them was coming towards the end of completion in August 2007, which is our archive point. And it would be feasible for us to take them in their current unfinished states, finish them, fix the known bugs from launch, like the one we could get the Path of Glufrey reward infinite times, and put them out. Fair bit of work for Land of the Goblins because it wasn't so close to completion, but Mod Nexus, when he worked for us, he investigated and deemed it to be well feasible, in those words. The other ones we would not be able to do. Back to my roots, we looked in the archive and Nexus found that although there was a few comments in preparation for it, there wasn't anything near enough to build a quest out of.
I mean, we'd be developing it from scratch, essentially.
Pretty much, yes.
That time could be spent on a new quest, which would be far more interesting than something you've already learnt the story of, something you could have already played.
Now, they might be assuming that the graphics would be available since those quests came from before the graphics update of July 2008. It's a reasonable assumption. The trouble is that when that big graphics rework got done, we no longer had the older graphics because they'd been overwritten by the new ones. And apparently when they were bringing out Old School, they looked for all the archives available and found that Jagex really doesn't have a lot of backups from the old days. August 2007 was about the only one they could find. So we are not able to access the way the game was in June 2008 to get the Old School graphics from then. Which sadly means, no, we can't take those quests and put them back in for you. Sorry, we wouldn't have minded, but if we had to recreate them from scratch, it would be a lot more time effective to give you a new quest written for Old School, maybe exploring the lore of Zeah, like many of you asked for, and maybe exploring some of the other stories that have not been told in RuneScape already.
I mean, I think
Monkey Madness too.
I think we had 4 quests on that list that we'd have to recreate from scratch. That would be roughly a year of one developer's time. That's either Ash, Maz, or Jed doing nothing but
more Ash for a year. There you go.
For one entire year, plus probably 4 months of graphics on top of that. I can't remember how graphics intensive those quests were.
And at the end of it all, first result was really intensive. And at the end of it all, you'd be left with the crushing cliffhangers of Land of the Goblins and Path of Glufrey, neither of which actually end very nicely at all.
I think it's just way more exciting to get something new. Massively so. I mean, you can already look up and play these quests on RuneScape 3 if you want to.
It really frustrated me the way Land of the Goblin has ended. You'd gone through all this exciting stuff, you get to the land of Yub-Yusk, and then Zarek climbs into a box, and it shuts.
And that's about it.
Spoilers.
But the thing is, even if we tried...
Spoilers.
Sorry.
I was going to do that quest.
Even if we tried to recreate those quests, they're not going to be up to the same standard. We might get something wrong or slightly off, and people might complain, it's not the same quest, it's slightly off.
They would never be exactly as they were.
Yeah. And often, in some circumstances, we might not be able to do it to the same standard because of less engine features and so on.
All right. Let's go to the next question then. I Am Keefers asks, if Master Tier clues fail, will you pull a revamp to the current clue tiers to make them more worth doing?
The Clue Scroll expansion is currently around 90% passing.
Yeah, I can't
So,
see it failing at this stage, given how high it is.
This question is rather moot.
If it were to fail, then that's certainly the kind of thing we could look at, but it doesn't look like it's going to be that way.
It doesn't look like it's going to be a problem.
It's got a follow-up that is still kind of relevant, saying, give some cosmetic rewards a use somehow. So some of the current rewards that are cosmetic.
Well, then they stop being cosmetic.
I'd be happy
There
to
was
see...
one idea that you could get a new tinderbox from the Clue Scrolls that could be charged with the firelighters. And that way, as soon as you light a fire, it would instantly light it in that colour.
That's still,
Which could
that's
be,
still
I mean,
definitely
it's still
cosmetic,
useless, but it makes it slightly more convenient.
I'd rather see the ever so expensive stuff like the Third Age bow actually be at least usable with dragon arrows, or, you know.
Now that we've lost the
some other
lazy dev,
use.
would one of you like to revisit that one, see if it is actually
I'm
possible?
willing to bet we could do it.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm willing to bet you
I
could
think
do
it's on our
it.
list.
Yeah, probably.
I think it's on our list. So.
Do you want to write it down just in case?
Yeah.
It's on the notepad. Next question. There's an image with this one. Chief Iron asks, Slayer helmet and boss heads combined. He says for 5,000 Slayer reward points, though a lot of people think that's very high. But this idea as a whole, I'm going to try to get that image. There you go.
Mm-hmm.
This idea as a whole has been brought up before. We straw pulled it, got like 90-something%.
Yes.
We like it.
Love it myself.
The Imgur link itself has like 250,000 views. Like it's a popular idea.
Yeah, it's on our wish list. We'll
by all
poll
means.
it at some point. It's not been done recently because Gareth's tied up.
I would be keen on finding a different way to get them than Slayer points. There's so many things you need to buy with Slayer points that
Yeah, that's true.
you end up having to train for so long to buy everything.
We're doing new clue scrolls.
Yeah,
Although
I think there's.
Master Clue sounds.
I had it on my list that it's
extremely
something
rare.
that potentially could come from Clue Scrolls in some item that you need to combine it with the head and the Slayer helm.
It makes sense with Slayer though. You get the heads from killing the monsters for a Slayer task, right? Like,
But the store's just so full.
So that's why we don't just do it now. Mod Ghost is currently our only artist. We are recruiting for another one, but that is not a quick thing necessarily if we want a decent one. And that means that we can't just take him off the Monkey Madness quest and say, all right, there's a lot of upvotes on Reddit for this particular thing, do this now, I'll come back to the quest later. Because that way you'd never get a quest really, because there's always going to be things on Reddit get a lot of upvotes. So we want to do it, we like it, but we're not necessarily scrapping everything else on the schedule to do it right this minute.
it's exactly that. All right, next question. Bosnian asks, can Elite Fremnik boots be moved closer to Relica's agility course and be buffed to unlimited teleports?
Well, we just buffed it to 5.
Are they suggesting that it be used every cycle to go around
Yes.
the loop a bit faster?
Who suggested that?
We're
Got
batting
a
them.
Bosnian?
I see the tricks.
So he's got a follow-up here, kind of covering himself. He says, would introduce a new method that is similar XP per hour as the Seer's course, but Fremnik course would offer more graceful marks.
That's the trade-off, isn't it? You do Fremnik if you want more grace, more marks of grace. To see us, that's his niche. So.
The Fremnik one's definitely my favourite of those courses.
Let's actually go to the next question then, because it's still relevant. So he's also asked, Seer's agility course saying... Sorry, it's not really a question, I guess. He's saying, Seer's agility course has a lower requirement and offers more XP per hour than the Fremnik agility course. Can this be changed? So it is slightly less experience, while Seer's is 60 and Fremnik is 80.
It's worth noting that Sears is only that experience rate if you've unlocked the teleport to Sears Bank from hard, orally, I think it's hard, Fremnik Diaries or Sears Diaries.
And that's a
Kandarin diaries?
fairly challenging thing to have to do.
Yeah, so it's not like you can just get 60 agility and go there. Plus you have the fact that you'll be failing a lot at the
And
lower
that
levels
guy
as
run.
well. Whoop. I just
Okay.
looked and saw Ash doing that thing. It's, yeah.
You had a close-up, it's what I do.
Next question. We've got a few more we can fit in here before we go to the sneak peek. Let's see here. Karnika asks, any word on scaling interfaces yet?
Yes, Ian has done quite a lot of that in his spare time and would very much like to get back to it again. Although we've asked him to focus on something that might help the bot detection systems first. Hope you approve.
Yeah, I think it's on his current sprint, isn't it?
It's something we want, but not as the top thing at the moment. The anti-bot thing is a higher priority than
It's nearing the
Yeah,
top,
I mean, that's
and
true.
it's likely something we'll see. Not in the too distant future. Also, I thought you said skilling interfaces.
Yeah, I thought you said skilling as well.
You did see scaling, did you? See scaling, didn't you?
What?
Yeah,
I
he did
said
say scaling. I read it on the
scaling.
screen.
Just checking.
I heard scaling. If they want a bit more transparency about Ian's priorities, his current ones are, now that bank placeholders and peered are out the way, he's working on some bot detection stuff, and then he's going to be looking at scaling interfaces and investigating what would be required for an in-game world map alongside a few other smaller things.
Ooh, yes.
That'd be so nice.
So yeah.
Okay. Next question then. King the Great asks, will there be more content added to Zeah anytime soon? So he's going over a few specifics real quick here. Stuff we've already talked about. Civitas Illa Fortis. I'm going to say all this stuff wrong. You guys already know this stuff. The non-specific stuff that we haven't mentioned before. House Portal added to the new continent. Agility courses added around the towns. Lower level training areas and shops.
Right, we're not planning on adding much more to Great Kurend, the first city that you've already got, apart from the Winter Tods, which is a skilling-based boss, which should be coming soon, early summer or in September. They've got 2 slots of roughly the same size, and the projects that fit into those are construction rooms and the Winter Tod. And we want to deliver both before RuneFest, which is sometime around October usually. So one will go in one and one will go in the other. And that's it for Kurend, more or less, apart from like minor feature tweaks. There will be another expanse coming with raids, like there's a couple more map squares to explore, and that's going to be late summer. And then will be another large landmass filled with content for batch 3, which we'll be looking at for the start of 2017. And that will include things like the Colosseum, a new town, like a pirate area. We'll probably stick a POH portal somewhere there.
And the Inferno.
Yeah, and the Inferno, or JAD 2 as it was previously known. So, yeah.
The one thing we aren't so interested in is more agility courses, because
we've
Old
got
School RuneScape is really quite full of agility courses. So
I think it'd be all right.
Sorry, one more thing I totally forgot about. This might be news to some of you guys as well. A network of tunnels underneath Zeah that's going to be huge. If you think Chaos Tunnels ×2, there'll be some content attached to it as well. I'm not going to reveal much about it, but just another huge network of tunnels and caves and dungeons that are filled with monsters.
Yeah, me and you had a good discussion about this and came up with a really nice design to make it just interesting, and just another place where we can stick some extra creatures that are overcrowded and potentially some new creatures as well. And
that's exciting.
And that should be around midsummer time, sort of end of July.
So whereabouts under Zeah was that likely to be?
It's quite large. We've got it. Well, the one entrance that we'll be able to access to start with is Kurend. There's probably another entrance in batch 2, and then maybe a further one in batch 3 as well.
Sounds fun. So we're covering quite a lot of the continents underground with this. Lovely.
Cool.
There will be a lot of story attached to this as well, relating to the area, like necromancy and the Dark Altar.
All right. Next question, also from King the Great. King the Great. All right. Will the map be completed in the future? The black areas are lame and could have content added to them to fill them out.
I think I would really like to. It's a matter of finding the right content to fill it, ultimately, and when we have a chance to do so.
I mean, with the existing continent, we would have to map it in how it is in RuneScape, just for continuity of the story. But the content that's on them can be different.
Okay.
So our schedule's pretty full for the rest of this year, really.
Up until Q4, the end of the summer at least.
And then we can make some more plans to show them at RuneFest.
Yeah.
Woo! Ooh, that's exciting. We showed a lot of big stuff at RuneFest. I'm so disappointed JAD 2, man. We hyped that up.
You know, the more I think about it, it's like it's going to fit so well into
It
Zeah
is.
3 and the Inferno. I think it would be way more exciting to put it somewhere else.
Excited to see what we're going to show this year. Next question. This will be the last question before we go over to the sneak peek of the week with Mod Ghost. So Storm asks, can you pull teleport tablets for the Lunar Spellbook?
We've had a discussion about this recently, I think, on a stream. Lunar teleports are rather powerful, and they're one of the main uses for wanting to be on the Lunar Spellbook.
That was my follow-up, saying it devalues the telescrolls.
Yeah, and I think I would personally rather keep that use for the Lunar Spellbook.
There's a lot of tele-group spells on the Lunar Spellbook as well, and that provides a use for helping your friends who aren't on the Spellbook. So
It's a utility spellbook, so being able to create into tablets, we'd have to come up with a sort of decent story reason for being able to suddenly do so as well, maybe involving shards of astral runes or something. Huge blocks of essence, I don't know, but I just don't like the idea.
Okay.
Not to say it can't be done.
That's fair. All right, guys. We're going to head over then to Mod Ghost, who's going to show you guys a sneak peek of the new Mage Raids armor to come with Zeah
when
Batch
did I
2.
say book?
Yeah, you talk about a spell book.
Oh.
The lunar one.
Hello, so my name is Mod Ghost. I'm just going to be showing you the new Mage armour that's going to be released with raids in Zeah Batch 2. So what you've got here is an armour that's made out of very dark sort of rock, and it's got this red vibrant energy that's sort of cracking that rock crust that's sort of all built around you. And also these bits of energy charged rock that are kind of levitating off the armour as well. So I'm just going to do a quick turn around the model just so you can check it out from all angles. There we go. And probably from the back again as well. I'll just zoom out a bit as well just so you can get a feel for what it kind of looked like in game. There we go. They're all laughing at me for that, but you know, some of you might appreciate it. So we can just check out what that's going to look like animated as well. There's still a few glitches with it because I haven't quite perfected the labelling on the model. That probably means nothing to most of you, but it's just some technical stuff that I need to do to get the model working correctly. But you can kind of see roughly how it moves. I can't animate the bits of floating rock, but they kind of like move, you know, significantly enough for you to get a feel of it. I'm not going to rotate around the model too much because there's a few glitches and it'll kind of spoil the effect of how tidy it looks at the moment. But yeah, that's it so far. I hope you like it. Feel free to comment in the chat, I'm sure you will. Or also message me on my Twitter, which is... what's my Twitter, guys? I haven't used it for a week. At @jagex_ghost. That's really good of me to forget my Twitter, isn't it? Okay, thank you very much. Bye.
All right. I think it looks awesome. I really like that. I think it's got to be extremely difficult. I don't know if Mod Ghost is still mic'd up. Who wants to give an opinion on this? To try to fit the old school appeal of keep things really simple and make it very low poly, like plain Zamorak robes, for example, just literally monk robes painted red, which will make some people happy, but others will say, "Are you kidding me? This is really the best you could do." So
yeah.
I think those look absolutely awesome.
Don't worry, gold trimmed monk robes coming with the Clue Scroll update.
Because
they're going to satisfy that crave.
Because monks are known for wearing those robes because they need more bling in their lives.
Yes, you need gangster monks.
So yeah, are you mic'd up, Gareth?
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. What do you think? How do you want to put an opinion on this at all?
My opinion on what?
Trying to fit in between the it looks too much like RS3 and that's too crap.
Well, I think that we just have to make something and then just put it out there and see what the feedback's like. I mean, there's only so many different variations of mage robes you can do. I could just copy some existing mage robes, alter them a bit, and then just produce something like that. But people will just moan that it looks kind of bland and like a private server anyway. So I don't know. The area as well is going to kind of have a sort of style to it. And to actually say that this doesn't fit into Old School Runescape without the actual environment that it's going to sort of come from in the first place is kind of jumping the gun in a sense, because once people experience that environment and they get the rewards, there's like a sense of cohesion between the item and the place where you acquired it, and that place will be a new place in Old School Runescape, and therefore it will fit into Old School Runescape.
It's a very good point.
Looking at it, I can't help thinking that's going to look awesome as you're walking around the Zara area, because you look a lot at the monsters you find in the Zara area, and I like the idea that one of the monsters from the fight cave could maybe think you're its mummy while you dress like that.
It's always a good colour scheme as well.
For content involving that.
I've seen a few comments about Dagon High. That style of hat is also coming. The Dagon High style of hat.
I think I have a Dagon High question in here.
It's a topic we raise fairly often.
Yeah. I called it Dragon High one stream. I got roasted.
Deserved.
Dragon High.
All right. If you guys want to give feedback to Mod Ghost on that, Twitter is jagex_ghost. Next question. So my name is Mo. Asks, can you allow an NPC to convert Zarek's Talisman, inert, the uncharged one, to 100 Lizardmen Fangs? He says there's no point in owning more than one talisman.
Wouldn't mind that.
100, yeah, that's fine, sure. They're fairly common, aren't they? I can't remember the numbers off the top of my head for those.
Nor can I. I think we made the talisman itself relatively uncommon until we introduced the shamans.
You could just have it stop dropping the talisman if you already own one.
Yeah, but I'd rather go with this. I like it.
Yeah, I don't see why not.
Okay. Next question. LV2 asks, will the Fury ornament kit work with the Zenite jewelry?
No, but there will be a tortured amulet ornament kit coming from the master tier
Yeah.
of Blue Scrolls.
Ooh.
I had a different version of the ornament kit for those.
Have to find a new design for that one. Okay.
I'm sure Gareth can come up with something. He's very creative like that.
How are you
Next.
feeling about 300 or so new worn items, Gareth?
Sorry?
How are you feeling about 200 or 300 new worn items for Blue Scrolls?
It should be relatively easy. I mean, with Clue Scrolls, it's going to be a case of looking around the game and seeing what fits with the existing landscape and nothing new to kind of create a new look as such. So really we could just even take old models, adjust them, do some recolours and just find out really what the players want in terms of style. Although when you come to think of it, like when was the last survey we did? I think it was only 30% of the player base that even really cared too much about what things looked like in a sense. So yeah, it's fine. I think it will just be something that can easily be knocked out very quickly with relatively low graphical cost.
Oh, you'll have a lot of creativity, well, a lot of creative space to work with some of the new items because they won't be comparable to anything existing, so you'll have a lot of freedom there.
Yeah, I suppose so, but I think some people would just want a spade to look like a spade in the case of Blue
Yeah.
Scrolls, to be honest. It's
One
not
of the
big and
items is
flashy.
actually a spade.
Right, okay, fair enough.
What
I'll
does
make
this
sure.
do?
You wield it.
Okay.
Well, be assured I will make the spade look like a spade, at least. I promise you that.
Does that mean we have to trawl through all the code that deals with spade?
No, I was thinking we just make it not work like a spade.
We'll just have an operate dig option.
That was really cool, Jimmy, from camera to camera. I felt like I was just like witnessing a different conversation, not in the same room. All right, next question has an image with it. Slayer Masters says, blowpipe mutagens.
We've covered this
No.
on numerous occasions because there's so many different types of. Sorry, the words aren't coming. Ash.
When we have lots of items that all behave the same, we still never end up having to write separate code for them because they all turn into different things when they transform, like when they go from fully charged to empty, things like that.
Yeah.
And that means that there's increasing chances of us just getting it wrong and accidentally deleting an item or giving the wrong item. Like we did on launch, actually, when Zora came out, there was an obscure combination of things you could use on each other that made your fang just vanish into oblivion.
I think it was the magic fang, yeah.
That was the bunny. So,
The bunny.
here's the expression.
Big fan.
Toothy. So we try to avoid having too many of these things, partly because it's really quite bad for the code maintenance, and partly because having done it, all you've got at the end of the day is a funny coloured doobry in your hand shooting darts out, which is no better than the one you had before. So if we're going to put that level of dev time and testing in to do this thing and do this thing safely, I'd rather put it into something that benefits you more.
Yeah, I think it already was a valid concern with the Slayer helmets that we showed earlier that we said we are going to be polling. In regards to, we want everything in game to be easily recognizable, especially by new players, people coming back. So just adding different colors to this and that, I mean, where does it stop? Like, it's a lot of stuff. I gotta ask for the...
Dynamic recolors are dynamic different models.
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
I mean, graceful was
Allow us
already
to
a
do those
lot.
things without.
People
No,
having
sorry.
rainbow graceful.
Engine job.
Yeah,
It
it
would-
would be an engine job.
Given the sheer number of items involved in graceful,
Yeah.
it's getting kind of ridiculous. Like there's, 6 pieces in the graceful set, I think it is.
Yes.
Um,
We've got 7 colours.
So they've got to be doubled for the version that's worn and the version that's not worn because they've got different weights when you're wearing it, so that's a different item. And then there's all the different colours that we've let you have, and those also have their worn and unworn versions.
It's 84 objects.
It kind of multiplies up a lot the way this thing's going if we keep adding more and more cosmetic overrides for these things like the other game.
That wasn't a fun testing, Joe.
I can think of better ways for you guys to spend your time.
Because at the end of the day, we also need to give you things you can play with, and the amount of fun you get from saying, now I'm wearing the same thing but it's blue, doesn't necessarily keep you around in the same way that maybe a new activity might.
But rounding up all those suggestions, putting them into something for a later date and then bundling them into a Clue Scroll expansion is something we can do because you get content and then you get your Fashionscape rewards all at the same time.
Yes. Have we got the double eye patch?
No, I don't think we do have
Certainly can.
that.
I want.
I mean,
you
there's
wanna
a
re-
list on the confidence page. Just add anything you want.
Rebuild Patchy for me.
Anything?
Is that IF is awful.
EUC as a Clue Scroll reward.
I do like rebuilding old interfaces and making
Yeah,
them
I think
not be like that.
I can't remember if Dan actually bothered or if he just put new dialogue on it.
He had to add a second page.
Oh,
He added
yeah.
that button. That's why there's a stone button on a parchment background.
Let's give him the
Yeah.
Which in it first?
The
The
patchy.
scissors dude on Oz the Harmless. He sews your thingies together.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, let's go to the next question. So the Quick Venom asks, can we have a new best-in-slot bow that competes with the ACB and blowpipe? His claim here is that it makes no sense that the range skill's best weapons do not include an actual bow.
The
Dark bow is
that's
technically
what I was going to say.
the most damaging weapon. The magic short bow is the most consistent PvP weapon
Yeah.
to use.
There are bows around that are useful, but for straight out DPS and outside of PvP, it's so full. There's so many pieces of content in range, and we're adding a new one with Monkey Madness 2 rewards, the Ballista.
Yeah,
So-
the only option here I would see would be buffing the crystal bow.
The crystal bow is already pretty useful.
Yeah.
Too useful.
I would like another bow that offers unlimited ammo in the same essence,
Zati bow.
essentially similar to that.
Okay. Update the circle. There you go.
For what it's worth, adding another ranged weapon that's trying to match what the blowpipe can do, but as a bow it's two-handed rather than one-handed. Presumably it would have to be therefore better than the blowpipe in some way. Because
Blowpipe is two-handed.
Oh, is it? Okay,
Yeah.
that's
We
right.
started off the Seacle spell.
I'm not touching that circle. No, we've put far too many hours into trying to come up with a solution to this thing. You vote everything down, it's dead. And it's going to stay dead.
It's useless that
Panic
it's
cell
got
circle.
no use.
Now you've done it. You've triggered John.
No. We
Okay.
must have put what?
You know that I'm on the side of the stream shaking my head.
Ronan wants the stream to know that he is at the side of the stream shaking his head.
We can see him. He videos.
In other words,
Looks like a big vibrating bowl.
please suggest more circle stuff every week.
If you go to Pot's room, you might see a cull.
Wow.
Get up and leave.
Okay.
That was disgusting.
That
Next.
was top draw. Top draw.
Next question has an image. Let's move on to that one. Markscape says, can you fix the max capes on female characters?
Send a bug report.
Modghost said, yes, he can fix this, is my
Then,
answer.
Yeah, we'll just,
Awesome.
I've already got that. Cool.
if it's not bugged, write it down, Kieran. Just
I actually couldn't see it on that picture, but okay.
Yeah, basically the hood doesn't actually noticeably attach to the cape, so he can fix that.
I'm really not good at the appearances of things.
Blame Alfie.
Omfeed
That's that one.
says, will you be making the Dragon Slayer become a requirement to wield the anti-dragon fire shield? I can't speak. Yeah, so a while back we said it would really help with botting if we said, well, to do kill green dragons, wield an anti-dragon fire shield, you have to do the quest.
Totally.
I think
I really want to do this.
impeding gameplay is not the way to tackle bots. If that's the
But-
only reason for doing it.
But if you're fighting green dragons, you're a reasonable level, and at least completing Dragon Slayer, or at least getting to the part where you can get an anti-fire shield, isn't that big a challenge.
That does mean that the likes of Pures can no longer PK with one.
Most of them like it, although most of them may
That's a
not be
good point.
pures.
Do you
Piers
need-
couldn't PK
you don't
with,
need defense to
Pures
get-
couldn't
Fire
wield
shield.
that shield to help defend against
Why not?
Dragon.
They
You're
have
making
to
it
do
a,
Dragon Slayer.
Yeah.
Not if it's only getting to the part where you get the shield.
So you don't actually have to complete
If
the
we,
entire quest.
if we check
Definitely
for
not.
starting the quest,
Oh,
Okay.
I thought you were quest completion.
Yeah,
and
I
getting
like
to the
that
part
idea
where you
then.
can buy the shield from the Duke.
So you need the quest points to get into the Champions Guild and start the quest. But you are allowed to wield the shield at that point, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to kill Elvarg.
Right. Okay. I think that's a great idea,
That's fine.
personally.
Yeah.
I think that'd be
We'd have to
good.
poll that.
Yeah.
Well,
Can we get a straw
Valor
poll?
seems to be interested.
we straw
I've
poll
got a
that?
straw poll.
Sure. Okay. So, would you like Dragon Slayer to be a requirement to wield the anti-dragon fire shield?
Make that partial completion of Dragon Slayer. Just for certainty.
That's Modghost leaving. Gone forever.
Bless
Until
him.
next Q&A.
So Gareth just had to carry his computer out of the room while trying to
Right.
open the submarine door. That for some reason is what the door is on the live stream.
We have a soundproof door that makes a lot of noise when it opens and shuts.
So there'll be a...
In case there's ever a nuke, I'm pretty sure this room
There it is,
will
there's the
be
shot.
essentially a bombshell.
Yes.
It's quite distracting when someone picks their face through that. Like, busy.
You kind of expect horde of zombies or something out there.
All right. So yeah, you guys can vote on that now. Again, this would pretty much purely help with Green Dragon bots or Dragon bots as a whole. Purely.
I see
yeah.
what you did there.
And it would not affect peers, so if you're a peer, don't worry about it.
Well, they still have to go and get 32 quest points if they don't have them, but they're certainly capable.
They all do.
If you don't have 32 quest
Most
points,
do.
you don't have myth gloves. You're not even real pure.
Read
question.
better, just saying.
Oh,
what
actually, we're gonna
say
get the
they?
results from that. It was quick. What are we looking at here?
Well, I think-
92% with 2,000 total votes. My
Wow,
God,
that's more popular than most holiday events.
Yeah,
That's,
I think we'll be seeing that on
that's
the
crazy.
poll soon, TM.
Shiny.
That's a lot of participation. You guys are very,
Very much
passionate
like to
about
get
that
that in.
question. Cool.
Thank
All
you.
right, moving on. This is the Dagon High question. There it is. Mages asks, can we get Dagon High robes? Also, can Master One get a 10% buff?
I think we polled a buff to the Master Wand at least once before, and it didn't pass. That was damage boost one. I think it can auto-cast Ancient Magics now, which is something new and shiny. Where does it sit on the table? Staff of the Dead is 15%, 75 requirements. Yeah, I have no immediate balancing concerns, at least, with that one. Happy to offer it again. Dagon High Robes might not be called Dagon High Robes because of all the lore surrounding where they actually came from, but those models will be used for a set of magic robes soon.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Woo. We've had various suggestions about how to actually get Dagon High robes, one of which was to stick some Dagon High monks up the wilderness and let people just go kill them. Although there was then concern that we'd go and stick them outside the Mage arena to ruin the PvP area. Why we would do that? Why they think we'd do that, I do not know. But yeah,
All right. Got a fair few amount of questions left, and then the suggestions segment. So let's try to, I'm not going to say quick fire, but try to speed our way through these questions here. So Slayer Masters asks, can we get a toggle from Toby the Varrock Diary Master that reminds us upon login that we have battle staves to buy from Zaf?
You just remember to go and buy them. It's write it down. Set up a 24-hour reminder on Outlook, or set a timer.
It resets at midnight, right? So it's
Well, what at 1
1 a.m.
the minute,
while it's
yeah.
1
BST.
a.m.
1 a.m.
But it
BST.
resets overnight. So every day, just go first thing.
Works for me.
You know.
Next question. Chris asks, can the briefcase from Elite Clue Scrolls be used to store excess God pages?
Ooh, I like that, but that's
Can you explain what it's for, please? I mean,
just for storage.
so that you don't have them in your bank if you don't
Yeah.
need them.
Doesn't do anything with them. It just stores them.
Sounds like an Ultimate Iron Man thing.
Ah,
I can see why they wanted
And
that, but
anybody who feels like sticking things in the briefcase.
it's a
Well,
bank
yeses.
thing.
In fact, not a single. There's one no that. What's his name? Single him out.
I think we'll poll that one.
That's a cool suggestion. All right. Mimi asks, can we have the ability to alch unstacked items in the Kraken instance? He says, it seems unreasonable we can't alch drops like rune longswords,
Why is
warhammers,
this not
etc.
possible? Do you know?
You
beats
can.
me.
You can alch in there.
He says you can't alch
I've
in
seen
an-
it come
in an
up a few
instance.
times.
I'm afraid I don't know what that is.
He was thinking it might be OP if you could cast a spell and then alch as well. But that's just the way things
No,
work in Old School.
I know in some
be
places
fine.
alchemy is blocked so that back in the day when people wanted to avoid random events, they would go and hide in one of these places so they could just bot in peace and not be interrupted by random events. But since players voted for us to make random events not interrupt you anyway, that kind of concern doesn't exist the way it used to, so we could very happily allow alching in the kind of places we didn't always before.
Seems
When I was a noob, I didn't know that there was spots where you couldn't get random events.
Pest control bank.
But I knew that at the hunter spots, you never got random events that teleported you away. You only got the ones that had come up to you and talked briefly, and you solved that tiny puzzle or whatever. And hence, I wanted Alch near the red chins because I only get the easy random events.
We'll look into that one because you should be able to alch in there, and unless there's a comment in the code telling us why you can't, I think we'll just remove it.
Cool.
Sounds reasonable to me.
C Daddy asks, can watering cans fill up automatically when used on a water source?
Yes.
Currently, you have to click them individually.
Yeah, we can make it do that. Subject to poll.
Easy. All right. Scott Wilson asks, any plans to end this Deadman season early to implement changes and fixes on a new server instead of waiting until the next season?
No, this season will run as planned. There is a dev blog coming out tomorrow. Ronan, shout something if I'm wrong.
Yep. There's a Deadman Changes dev blog coming out tomorrow. I'm actually going to skim through some of the stuff you can expect.
There you go.
Just skim through it. There's going to be a lot more in depth tomorrow. So we had a Deadman meeting Tuesday, earlier this week. A couple of the things that we covered. Not going to go through everything. So things to improve / change. Earlier, the fog accelerated a lot faster towards the end This time it would be accelerating faster towards the beginning, slowing down towards the end. The fog damages tick wood changing, so to prevent tick eating, leaving a, say, 20 by 20 area for people to fight, so not everybody would just sit there and die by the fog. In result of a tie, player with most kills wins instead of highest total level.
That's most kills acquired during the final hour.
Yes, just the final hour, not the whole season.
So we'd start counting the number of kills you get once the final hour is begun, and if there's more than one person standing at the end when time runs out, then the person with the most kills would be the winner. Reason for that is that we would make it clear to you which that person is, so that you could see, well, it's just me and him left, but he's got more kills than me, so my only chance of getting the prize is if I kill him before the time runs out.
And don't worry, people saying season, not tournament. I gather that. Don't worry. This is changes to the tournament first. We'll get into the season in a second. Right. Last thing was find a way to display how many kills a player has had, so you can actually see, oh, this guy's got 20 kills. I've only got 1. I better kill him before he gets to the finale, otherwise he might beat me. Cool.
So displayed, we don't know yet, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
Ian suggested some game engine changes he might be able to make if time permits.
So player suggestions that we happen to agree with. XP rates fluctuate, an example being 10 times XP for levels 1 through 60, 5 times 60 to 85, and then slowing down upwards. This would delay people getting barrage, and people wouldn't be able to jump to such high stats very early on, at least.
And it makes death a lot less punishing at lower levels and a lot more punishing at higher levels.
Very true.
It's not even get you to the really top end and essentially being just so far ahead of anyone.
Similar to that, death's less severe. This was definitely an agreed topic. Whether that means a 25 combat level difference, being the player that dies doesn't lose XP in that instance. We also discussed scaled XP loss depending on combat level. So like a level 100 can't go kill, well, he could, but wouldn't be as
so actually
damaging.
For the last 2.5 hours I've been working on producing like an actual scaling system with a curve for how much XP you'll actually lose based on how high the guy is compared to you. So that I'm happy with the curve we got now, and we'll probably be presenting that in the dev blog tomorrow to give you an indication of how more beneficial it'll be.
That means that if I'm level 40 wandering around chopping my U's or whatever, and Kieran's level 126 comes along and kills me, you don't lose much experience.
I think it works out.
You still lose your stuff.
Yeah. I think it works out that if I was a level 126 and you were like level 30ish, you're pretty much going to lose nothing in terms of XP.
It means the PK still gets all the items they'd have ever got. That's not changing, but the amount of XP being lost, that wasn't going to go into the PK anyway, so we just take less of it off the person if their combat level was very, very different.
That's exactly it. We don't want to take away motivation to PK. It's a PK in game mode. We want PKing. What we do want to help is, I can't word this properly, can I? We want to make rebuilding less painful. How's that? All right. So that lower XP loss on death thing is to be implemented, but hopefully before next season begins. 6-hour rules apply, again, before next season begins.
That would take effect 1 month after the tournament started, which I believe is next week. It'll be roughly a month because, game update days.
Yeah, so it's equivalent to the 6-hour protection that we added to the permanent Deadman mode server. When you start, you cannot take part in PvP for 6 hours. That means you can't attack someone, no one can attack you. And we're probably going to accelerate the XP you get in this time as well. Now, you can go and speak to the Doomsayer and Lumbridge to get out of the time if you want a PvP straight away, but probably not.
All right. Again, guys, there'll be a much more in-depth dev blog happening tomorrow, so look out for that. Next one.
And we're also looking at making it less punishing with the amount of items you lose as well, right?
Yep, almost getting there. So the Grand Exchange, there you go. That'll help. And then again with the trade limit. Making swapping / mealing bannable as well. Sorry, not trade limit. But yeah, definitely enforcing those rules on that, making a very strict statement there. And then, reducing the 28 items rated from bank to only the top 10. What would often happen with the 28 is you would see the last, dozen items weren't even stuff. It was just a guy's junk. Really, you just care about the top 10 things.
Yeah, when we looked at all the keys that you guys were getting, it's just that top row of that chest interface were full of the valuable stuff, and the rest was just there for punishment, stuff that the player could realistically go and sell and rebuild with. Yeah,
if you're clever enough to fill your bank up with more than 10 really good things, then there you go. Well done, you get to keep that stuff. And with the Grand Exchange, that'll help prevent price manipulation, e.g. Fruit chunks, stuff like that.
Yeah, Deadman will have its own stock market, won't be tied to the old school main game at all.
Yeah. And then the last thing was a solution to unnoting items on a bank. Now, the only solution, by all means, feel free to tweet me or post on Reddit or anything. I'll find it. If you can think of a better solution for this issue, I guess, if you want to call it. But we're looking at pricing that, so charging people per transaction, whether that's per item unnoted or per entire transaction. But yeah, that would help there.
Cool.
Okay, back to the questions. Again, guys, look out for that dev blog tomorrow. It'll be very informative, courtesy of Mod Ronan. So, where was I? Right here. I'm Tedious asks, Mod John C mentioned how the Rune Throne Axe special could awaken all Kraken tentacles at once, although that wasn't the case. Can this be pulled?
Yeah, we think it can be done quite easily.
We'll find a way.
And yeah, it will be on a poll soon, TM. Apologies for the misinformation, but I did cover my arse. I said I think it worked like that, just saying.
It's a really cool idea, to be honest.
It came from a stream way back when the Kraken came out.
Right. Ed Hicks asks, if an NPC finishes off a kill, can I still get the full Slayer XP?
Half of it is meant to be earned for finishing off a monster. If you didn't finish off the monster, you're not supposed to have earned that bit.
Makes sense.
It's the kind of slaying aspect that was.
You gotta beat the NPCs to the kills,
Otherwise,
guys.
it'd just be the damaging skill.
All right. RSN Schneider asks, can the monkey pet from Monkey Madness 2 instead be saved to be the agility skilling pet?
It's not actually a pet. It's an object that is worn in your cape slot and sits on your person and is something like that. It's not a pet that follows you around. You could still have this monkey on your shoulder.
Yeah, the agility pet could still be a monkey that follows you.
Yeah.
If
I
we
think
really wanted it to be.
a monkey suits Monkey Madness 2 a bit more than agility.
Right.
Yeah.
Happy to see the agility pet be a monkey, as when we do an agility pet. It's slightly nicer than the suggestion sent to me about it being a pair of tap dancing shoes that followed you around dancing. In all seriousness, somebody asked me for that, and a few people liked it, but I've
seen
for the monkey.
The parrot from the Brimhaven guy.
That's a good idea.
Anyways, all right, next question.
Scraps the power.
James asks, could we have a Skybox Grand Exchange or some other cool airborne place where we could hang out, skill, or PK?
Oh, wow.
Skyboxes are different things to having an area in the sky, which is what I'm going to assume he thinks he's asking for.
I believe all you're going to see around you is black.
Yes.
So it doesn't really matter where we put it or what height we put it at.
However, if we put in an engine job,
If we put it underwater, then you can have a nice blue thing all around you while you trade.
What a dome. A big dome underwater.
Dome Depot.
A dome city underwater. Atlantis. All right, next question.
Probably look like that grapevine place.
For what it's worth,
Yeah.
there was a huge underwater randomly generated piece of content designed last year, but you guys didn't vote for it, so you don't get it.
Salty.
Next question. Ruben says, oh, this was one from Mod Jet. He's not with us right now. Save that for next week. Basically asking how it was for him. Actually, Kieran, you can answer this. How was it adapting to RuneScript and, well, becoming a dev? That one's kind of for Jed, but you seem to adapt very quick, somebody was saying.
I really looked forward to it when I started the job, and just in any spare time I got, I enjoyed reading it, understanding what was going on, trying to figure out how things worked, and then started doing small bug fixes and just got into it that way.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it. So
I'd be interested to hear what Jed would say, because his perspective would be a little different, because whereas we hadn't been programmers for any company before this, he was a programmer in London somewhere.
yeah, so I mean, for me, it was obviously I didn't train to be a dev initially. I was trained in QA, so it was a matter of doing it alongside my QA responsibilities and picking it up.
And my last job was in a residential home, so I didn't do any programming there either.
I know Jed's having a great time with Monkey Madness 2. No pressure at all. He's loving it.
Yeah, he's
Nailing it.
he's getting there.
It's looking awesome.
He's looking more panicked than he should be. He's more on top of it.
That's his face, I mean.
Even coming today without a hoodie.
Yeah, he turned around. Like Jed has worn a hoodie every single day that he's come to work, apart from today. And he sits right behind me, so I turned around and I saw him. I had to look twice just to make sure it was him. It was.
I gave him my hoodie.
Actually, before we end the stream, we wanted to discuss the bank placeholders and the player's reaction to how potions work or how jewellery works with the different charges. Now, currently, they share placeholder. That means if you take out an Amulet of Glory 6, leaving a placeholder behind, you go and teleport somewhere, you get back to the bank, and you put in your Amulet of Glory with 5 charges, it will go back into that same placeholder. Now, that's the same with potions. If you take one out and drink a dose, put it back in. Now, a lot of players who have one of each of the doses or one of each of the different charges are suggesting that we have placeholders separated for each of the types. Now, we would like to do a straw poll on which you guys would prefer.
Good luck wording that.
Should
we poll what
Do you want to straw poll on that?
Should charge/dosing items share placeholders? Something like that.
Yes or no to the thing Kieran just said.
And I've had some players say that he would like us to keep doing it for the charged items, but not to change it for the potions.
Of course.
Which makes sense to me, by the way.
Okay. We've actually got a few suggestions I'm going to try to tackle before we end the stream here. We're going to go a few minutes over.
Quick fire answers.
We'll be quick. In the meantime, let's get the results back from this straw poll, just because I'm a little curious. Come on, Mod Ronan.
It only just went
There you go.
Not even gonna get any votes.
59% yes.
59% no.
Is that 59% no? Oh, wow,
Yeah.
okay.
It's a no to not sharing placeholders. So that's not what
Who
we
knows? It's kind of split down the middle regardless.
Yeah,
So there you
59%
go.
of the people would like it changed from what it currently does.
Yeah.
Now, the good thing is that the way we wrote it, it's quite easy to change. See, we launched it this way so that you could see whether you want it changed the other way, because that's a fairly easy transition. If we just launched it the other way and you'd been saying you want it changed to this, we'd have had a bit of a problem on our hands. So this is definitely the easy way to go.
All right.
Now, on the subject of bank placeholders, sorry.
Okay.
I know you went
It's
to
okay.
home. People have said the toggle for whether you get placeholders by default when you empty a stack, could that persist over logout? Yeah, sure it could. At the moment we implemented it to be exactly like the toggle for getting items versus banknotes. Since it's a very similar kind of option for how you use your bank, that one resets on logout, so we made this one do that as well. But it's very easy to make it not do so, and we can change that for the next update.
Yeah.
All right. 3 suggestions. First one, Spin Flax spell. We've talked about this before, but it's never been really in depth. We wanted more from it, so this guy's gone and given us more from it.
This Iron Man really wants to spin us back.
Yeah. Check this out. If you're a fan of it, please do let us know in the chat. So the Spin Flax spell would be unlocked at 76 magic after completing the Fremnik Hard Diaries. I'll speak a little quickly.
That's a lot.
Requires 2 natures. I'm going to sum it up for you. Requires 2 natures, 1 astral, 5 airs per cast. Similar to the 10 leather spell, allowing 5 flax at a time to be made into bowstring, each giving 50 XP and 15 crafting XP. 50 XP to mage, rather. 75k mage XP per hour, 23k crafting XP per hour, and 7,500 flax to bowstrings per hour. Those are the stats. That is the spell.
Yeah, I'm happy with that balancing. Ship it.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's good at numbers, he is.
All right.
I like the way he's put it on the interface at the bottom so that all the things like vengeance don't get rearranged
I
unexpectedly.
imagine that was to make his editing easier,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Unless you wanted to take something out
No,
and
he
replace
specifically
it.
said in the picture, it
really?
doesn't make
Does
the
it?
vengeance move.
Oh, wow. You
That's
can
a
read
good level
that.
of thinking, that, because we have to do that.
We will stick that on the list of things to poll. That is, of course, subject to priority against everything else. The amount of graphics available to create the animation.
On the topic of geomancy being at the bottom,
Yes.
when do you think we can offer the moving spellbook or reordering?
Anytime we aren't doing something else with the dev time.
How long do you reckon you need?
Me? Oh, I'm doing it. I
Yeah,
reckon I could get you something in a couple of days programming time.
I'll see what I can do in the summer.
Shiny.
All right. Next suggestion. Make the wise old man tell you which members' quest items you don't need anymore.
So yeah, the Ninja team did this for RuneScape recently, and it
Yeah.
actually just deletes them all. It's a lot of items. It's just a rather laborious and long
Yeah,
dev
I mean, they
task.
have the list and they have the list of variables,
Yeah.
so we would not have to do that task.
But we still have to tidy it up for our quests.
It would take some tidying up.
We could do it, and because it's literally just getting rid of items for you, it doesn't add a whole lot of value to gameplay. It's not going to be a priority anytime soon. But it would be nice to do one day.
All right, last suggestion, guys. Last one we're going to cover today. I have one left, but I'll save it for next week. Allow us to purchase our own falcon outside the falconry area.
There's a reason you can't leave the area with the Falcon. We'd have to make it very safe, and just for the sake of you being able to walk around with the Falcon on your arm, I'm
You
not
would need combat animation.
well, it would just say you can't attack. Same as if you're like transmogrified into a monkey or something, I
The
guess.
suggestion was to let it kill rats and spiders.
I thought we
Because
had
falcons
something like
kill
that.
spiders.
Just attack the spider.
I don't see much value in it. in that at all? What is the purpose? I mean,
It's-
yes, you can
it's
walk around with a
Fashionscape.
falcon on your arm, that'd be cool. But what's the purpose of it attacking spiders and rats? Really?
Splashing's not really a thing anymore.
Yeah, no, it's
so-
not.
And we have cats.
Well, okay, cool. That's the Q&A over. Again, guys, look out for that dev blog tomorrow. That's the Deadman mode changes for the season and the tournament. On top of that, if you missed the Mage Raids armor earlier today, it'll be up on YouTube. You can check that out. Was the last thing I was going to mention, the Reddit AMA. We're doing that tomorrow, 5 p.m. BST. Whatever time it is for you right now, 1 hour before now, tomorrow.
23 hours from now.
23 hours from now. Watch out for Reddit AMA.
There'll be. I'm assuming there'll be a news post running about it.
There will be a news
Yeah,
post.
we'll
We'll
send out
link
the
it on
comments.
all our Twitters and everything. It'll also be posted on the Old School subreddit, or at least posted there.
Yeah. Any questions at all, we will answer.
Although the answer
all
maybe
of
we
them.
don't know.
Yeah, you can ask us anything. We will answer almost anything.
I mean, if you want to know about, say, the predilections of the CEO, we genuinely don't know, and probably wouldn't share if we did.
Yeah, obviously there are some things we can't answer, but we'll give you as much as we can.
Like, where to get these hats?
The merch store, merch.runescape. Whatever it is.
Never mind.
It's on
All right.
runescape.com. Go buy the hat. This one's my favourite, Armadillo. I've only got one left to plug.
And I'm off for a couple of weeks, so I'll see you on a Q&A again in 3. I
It
think.
was such a good stream.
Oh, and buy some Lucozade.
And
With the
Fanta.
Bible thumbs. All right. Guys, give the stream a follow if you enjoyed. Give the video a like if you're watching on YouTube. Aside from that, thank you for watching. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Bye-bye.